is on the blog. All right, with that being said, we'll return to our agenda. We have a presentation this morning, and I'm going to do introductions. So this morning, we'd like to welcome Kim Adams, who is the CEO and Program Director of Recovering Hands. Kim is a woman in long-term recovery from a substance use disorder since February 3rd of 1991. Her affiliations with 12-step organizations have empowered her to be able to play an instrumental role in the lives of many hundreds of women. She attended the University of Hartford after graduating high school in 1975. She has a background that includes art therapy, psychodrama trainings, and peer recovery specialist credentialing. Kim's background and former life experiences led her to her passion to help other women find a new way to live. She also draws strength from and belongs to a women's leadership group that began at on-site workshops in Tennessee. Kim is also going to be joined by Callie Elliott. Callie is a former resident of Recovering Hands, and for the past 4.5 years has been working alongside Kim. Over the years, she has proven incredibly capable and is wonderful with the women she works with. Today, Callie serves as Recovering Hands Executive Assistant. Besides working full-time at Recovering Hands, she's also a student at Old Dominion University studying human services. She holds a liberal arts associate's degree and is also a licensed cosmetologist. She is here today to tell you a little bit about how she got to Recovering Hands, why she continues to work there, and what kind of substance use solution Recovering Hands offers. Welcome, welcome. Glad you all can join us this morning.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that introduction. We are really glad to be here. What an opportunity to be able to speak to you today about this resource. For many years, we don't do advertising, we just do networking. And so for many years, there were a lot of people who didn't know we exist. But this year, we kind of hit the map with a new building that we're putting up on our property, where we went to the Board of Supervisors, and there was some great publicity, and we've done some major fundraising. And so we're really, really glad to be here today. I've got a little presentation I'd like to show you. So are you sharing my screen for me, Keenan?
No, I've given you,
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
So you should have share screen at the bottom of your screen as a green button. That will enable you to bring up your presentation.
That's what I've got, share. Okay, and I'd love to be able to do it in the mode of, but this is in my way. Let me move that.
Yeah, we see it. We see your slideshow right now. There we go.
All right. So I just there we go. So I wanted, the beginning of the slideshow basically just gives you some pictures of what we do here, because it's so much better in person, and this is the next best alternative. Currently, our space includes this group room, which we get together in every morning. We like to say this is where all the magic happens. We get together after the women get up, 7:30 or so, and they feed the animals by 8 o'clock, and they come in to the group room where we do our morning check-in. We go over assignments. We do our meditation for the day. We read some of our literature, and then we proceed on to doesn't let me just click the next slide. To our next activity, which we have 2 life skills every day. And then during our life skills program, people, they may be working with our horses in our equine therapy program, or they could be doing woodworking or making rugs or canning, or any number of things that help them to learn how to work together, how to take suggestions, how to communicate their needs, mainly how to take suggestions. People coming into recovery seem to have lost some of their skills, and one of those skills is being able to take suggestions. So, and it also in the end builds self-esteem. That is one of our horses that we have had the longest. Her name is Ziva. She is a diva and I think was aptly named. She's a beautiful horse for us to work with though, because she is very smart and very cooperative. This is an old 150-acre tobacco farm. And that was the livestock barn that was built over 100 years ago, and it still services us. We have a labyrinth, which is for walking meditations. Anybody who wants more information on what a useful tool the labyrinth is, I'd love to elaborate. Another view of the labyrinth from the pond. And we have a greenhouse that is just amazing. This greenhouse it doesn't produce a lot of our food, but it really helps with wellness. Having your hands in the dirt all year long, and there are so many plants in there. I'd love to take you for a walk inside it. Mostly they're house plants, and my husband's happy to have them out of the house. This is our little, we call it a chaplet. It's a mini chapel. The Main Street United Methodist Church in South Boston built it for us mostly, and it's just amazing. Really is a spiritual place to come and connect with whatever your higher power is. And part of the 12-step program is to develop a relationship with a higher power. So we like to provide, some avenues that are helpful for that. This is the cabin. The cabin it used to be a tobacco barn, and it is now a really nice space. We only have 4 beds. Each girl has her own private space, as you'll see in the upcoming slides. That wraparound porch is really conducive to the kind of communication and space that we need to do the work we do here. This is one of the spaces. It's hard to get really good pictures from inside. Each girl does have her own space. And the way that these bunks work, the one you're looking at is an upper bunk, and right across from it is a lower bunk. And then they're all 4 of them are that way. This is taken from that bunks up on that bunk, which is like being in a little tree fort. And you can see the kitchen through there. Excuse me. A piece of the kitchen. Another piece of the kitchen. So all of our real meals at the bathroom happen in the main house right now. We serve a community lunch, family style. The residents help to plan for it, cook it, clean up after it, eat it. We eat it all together. We are sitting at that table that we do our meals at, but this is a life skill happening right there at the table. The gym in the beginning, we have a yoga room, and it is awesome. You have to walk down the driveway out back. This is a 150-acre farm, and you get a little exercise in on the way to the gym. It's 3/4 of a mile. And then on the way back, you have that extra advantage of a cool down if you have used some of the gym equipment or just from the yoga. So I'm going to end the slideshow with this piece, just so that we can have a chance to tell you in our own words what we do. But the vision is to ensure women with substance use issues have access to optimal substance abuse residential support services. We are not your typical, okay, I'm going to stop the share. Stop screen share, there we go. We're not a typical treatment center. We are peer support. We don't just tell the residents what they need to do when they leave us. We actually have them practicing those skills. So they've gone to a 90 and 90 meetings in 90 days. They've gotten a sponsor. They've begun networking. they don't have their phone for the first month while we establish what it's like to have a recovery network, and not, you have to break the ties from your old way of life before you're ready to start a new one. After 2 weeks, they get the Recovering Hand cell phone for half an hour a day, and they get to begin networking. During the first 2 weeks, they've gathered some phone numbers from the meetings they've been going to. They begin networking, and then after a month, for an hour a day, they get their own phone, and they're still expected to do some networking before they, or, at some point during that hour. Practicing the skill of networking is crucial. If you're in a treatment center and you're learning that you're supposed to have a network, but you haven't begun to do it yet, you get out and you're like, now what? And you're a little scared of the idea. But if you've been doing it, if you've been practicing these skills for 3 months, which is the suggested time from SAMHSA, then you may still say, now what? But you know the answer to that. And I just got a little lost in what I was going to tell you next. But so you start out every day in the group room, and then you've got the life skill. Then we get together for our lunchtime, and then there's another life skill. And then you've got the downtime for your phone calls if you're at that point in your program. And then you get ready for the meeting. We take people to an offsite meeting, 12-step meeting every day. We do both fellowships, and we also take them to church on Sunday. The program costs $3,000 a month, so it's a total of $9,000. We have a lot of we put a lot of focus on raising scholarship money, because by the time people come to us, they really don't have any means. So with this year, we did get a grant from the last 2 years. We've gotten a grant from Centera. They've helped a lot with our scholarship money. And we have private donors, and we're always looking for more. As a matter of fact, I have an appeal out right now to, I need a volunteer grant writer, because almost entirely we are funded by whatever we can come up with. I also am a member of the Virginia Association of Recovery Residences, and it's been quite a process. We've been a member since, I think, 2021, and this week I heard that they are actually going to help with our current resident. It's been difficult to meet the criteria that they've expected in terms of data. I think they're just trying to, have a database because statistics are a little hard to come by. And we are able to meet that criteria at this point. So we're finally getting some assistance from them. Thank goodness, because this third resident that we just had 2 graduate, Sunday and Monday, and then this one that we have has absolutely no funding. So it's wonderful to have some assistance there. And I think that's all I want to share right at this moment. So I want to turn it over to Callie. Callie is amazing, as you heard from the introduction. And I'm going to let her tell you how amazing she is. Thank you.
Thanks, Kim. No pressure there. Hey, everyone. Thanks for letting us do this. We've jumped through a lot of hoops to get here and for people to know about us. So a little backstory on me. Before coming to Recovering Hands, I came from jail before coming to Recovering Hands, right? I was facing 2 possession charges, had gone to treatment 2 times prior, both times Galax. My first experience, I used while I was at Galax. It was a pretty rough environment, and I came back home, and I OD'd in my kitchen floor, right? I had been able to establish some things while I was there, but no ability to actually use it when I got home, because I was going back into the same environment. So about 6 months later, I ended up in the hospital in severe DTs in front of my father, my poor father. And the CSB came to see me. And at that point, I had no funding, no health insurance, and I was ready. I was extremely sick. I was dying, and so the CSB came to see me, and they offered me 5 days in Galax for the detox. And at that point, I was willing to do whatever I could do. And while I was there, I begged for more time there, and they were able to give me 3 days. So I spent 8 days in Galax, and then I came back home to the same environment. And no tools. I had no idea how to stay clean, none whatsoever. So I started using again shortly after that. And that's when the criminal charges started, right? I had 2 back-to-back possession charges. The second time I went to jail with no idea when I was going to get out, no bond. And when they finally went to court, they offered me pretrial and 6 months in treatment, right? And of course, at that time, I was absolutely out of resources. My parents were fed up with me. They were scared their daughter was going to die, and I knew I needed help, right? And I knew it didn't matter at that point, like why I used or any of those things. I didn't come from a place of trauma. I didn't come from a bad upbringing. I have wonderful parents, great childhood. That wasn't my story. The reality is that I couldn't stay clean on my own. So the courts gave me a very short period of time to find a treatment facility. And I don't know if y'all know this, but there's no such thing as in treatment 6 months, really. And and even my pretrial officer, God bless her, she was trying to help me, and nowhere would take me clean. And if I had used, I'd have gone back to jail. So my grandmother found Recovering Hands in the newspaper. It was a story about one of our prior residents who had gotten clean, who is still clean today. And my grandmother told me about it. And I called Kim that day, and she told me about Recovering Hands. She was like, "We have horses, well, we have a gym, we do yoga, and we have a life skill program. It's 150-acre farm. If anybody knows me, I love animals, right? More than people, really." And I was like, I don't care what I have to do. And I told my mom this. I said, I want to go there. And my mom made it happen, right? She took out of her retirement plan, but I was also able to access part of that scholarship fund, thank God. And I was able to do the 90 days there, right? And when I came, I was very beaten, very broken, didn't know myself at all. I didn't have low self-esteem. I had no self-esteem, right? I didn't even know how to be a woman anymore. And the program Recovering Hands put me back together, right? So the same person I started out with at Recovering Hand wasn't the same person I left, right? I was able to take care of 1,000-pound animals. Somebody trusted me to do that, right? We got to make braided rugs and learn how to can, and we did crafts too. But the thing is that I learned that I was good at stuff. That people wanted to buy my rugs, and I was good at that. Like, I learned how to cook again because I had learned, I had lost all those things in active addiction, almost on an animalistic level. And I had learned to be those things again. I started to feel like a human again, like I was a productive person. And I didn't even know that there was like a recovery environment, right? I started going to 12-step meetings every day. And when I found out when I got there that Kim at the time had like 29 years, I was like, what? I thought you used or you didn't use. I didn't know that there was an in between, right? I didn't know there was such thing as recovery. I didn't know that there was a whole community here in Halifax County and surrounding of recovering addicts, right? And today, those are all my friends. Like all my friends are recovering addicts today. I got a sponsor. I did 90 meetings in 90 days. And today I'm a sponsor, right? And I thought that getting clean was going to be the thing that was like my biggest accomplishment in life, but it wasn't. When I left Recovering Hands, I think I was about 4 months clean when COVID hit. And all of our meetings shut down, and nobody had ever heard of that. And I don't, if you know anything about being a recovering addict, connection is what keeps us clean, right? And so we lost that. And so when we leave Recovering Hands, Kim doesn't let us go, right? We're still a part of her life and her world, right? So she called me, and I was like, I need to do my community service. And I was really isolated, and she was like, just come to the farm and do your community service here, right? And I never left. Like, it was kind of a known thing that this was the position for me, right? And when I got here, I got to be a part of not only like my own recovery, but like watching other women put their lives back together. Like, I get to help them become mothers again, learn how to cook, build self-esteem, make resumes. I mean, what we do here is, I don't feel like I work, right? I don't feel like I have a job. I get to wake up every morning and do what I love. And then when the girls leave, I talk to them every day. So my phone rings a lot, but that's what we do here. We build connections. And I just had one tell me yesterday that just left that she has 2 job interviews. You know, that's the things that I get to do today. I get to see these women become productive members of society. I get to watch them become mothers again, sometimes for the first time. So it's a little spiel about what it's like for me to be a Recovering Hands. Also, she had mentioned on the thing that that I'm also a student, right? So there are other things that I do not only for the girls but for my own recovery, and I've gotten the ability to go back to school, and something I never thought that I'd be able to do. And ODU accepted me, and the very next day after as of right now, I have a 4.0, right? That's crazy. And next month I will have 5 years clean. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Kelly. All right, then. I really don't think Callie missed anything, and I feel like I don't think Callie missed anything. I feel like we have given you a good overall picture. I want you to come out and see the place sometime, and we would be glad to let you know when we have our groundbreaking ceremony for the new building, and we'll be giving tours anytime you want, but especially that day. It really is a great program. We have a very good track record as far as the women who come here. You know, our job is to plant seeds. We don't hold ourselves responsible for when somebody actually stays clean or when they relapse. We plant seeds. We let them know that these are the options. They get a chance to practice what it's like to be in long-term recovery while they're in this safe environment. And it is a program of attraction, not promotion. And the attraction is it works. And what I do for them is not unheard of. It is basically sponsorship on steroids. What I do for these women, what was done for me in early recovery, and they learn how to stay clean. And it isn't just a book thing, they learn from people who are actually staying clean. They get to go to meetings and they see what doesn't work too, because sometimes some people's recovery isn't attractive, and they get to see that too while they're here in this safe environment. We have taken people back, if somebody's struggling. One woman came here and went to a sober house in Richmond afterwards and found she didn't feel safe. She didn't feel like she had her recovery under control. And so she ended up coming back here for another month. And, we do what we can do to support people, because that's our goal. We don't make any money here, that's for sure. I have yet to take a paycheck, and I've been doing this since 2015 officially. So it isn't about the money. It is about saving lives, and that's what we do. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. The floor is open for questions.
I don't have any questions, more like a comment. I think what you're doing is phenomenal. It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
All right, and their questions? Oh,
I was going to say it's not a question; it's a comment that that I've been blessed to hook up with Kim out at her beautiful farm, and one of the things that that is amazing about the place is how peaceful and serene it is. It's almost another world out at her farm, and she has everything so well thought out. And one thing I don't think she really said was that she helps them reestablish a schedule, and that they had a very, very strict schedule that they stayed with that that really allowed them to reestablish order in their life, and that was one of the things that was very impressive to me.
Thank you, Shannon. I don't think I could exist without a schedule. Callie's in school now, and I told her yesterday she needs to make herself a schedule so that she knows how many hours she's studying every day. And that way it's not all up in her head. Just get a schedule, color code it.
all right, thank you all for the comments in the chat box. Anyone else? Anyone else? Questions or comments?
I'd just like to make a comment,
Sure.
you know, in the past been intimately entangled with recovering hands. And for those of you, if anybody's sitting on the fence on what's being done out there, please don't. I've spent a lot of time out there watching what they're doing. As a member of the recovery community, I'm also intimately familiar with what we do in order to recover, and they've got it going right. You know, it's grown. I run into the ladies at recovery meetings that are being, you know, taken out in the van or whatever vehicle they're using these days. And you can tell from people that are sitting there with maybe 30 to 60 days of time clean, what's coming out of their mouth is healthy language. And they didn't walk into that place with that language as part of their toolkit. So they're picking it up there. It's a wonderful place. It's a wonderful program staffed by wonderful people. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen.
All right, anyone else? Floor is open. All right, thank you, Kim. Thank you, Callie. We appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you. We appreciate the opportunity, Keenan. All right, we'll get off the call now, okay?
Yes, you're welcome to stay with us either way.